Good evening and welcome along once again here to the BSC Racing League Round 2 live from Michigan International Speedway. I am James Parfitt and I'm going to be joined in the booth once again by Kenton. Sportak, who's going to be joining me here for what plans to be an absolute epic evening of racing. So we are here in Michigan International Speedway, set in Brooklyn, Michigan here, and broke ground in 1967 and it opened in 13th of October 1968, which, mind you, cost them, well, $4 to $6 million at the time of its construction. Now we're here on a D-shaped oval on 2 mile long, 3.219 kilometers here this evening. 18 degrees banking as well, and it's only got 4 turns, obviously, you know, turn 1, 2, 3 and 4, so nothing major to go wrong. Hope everybody is well, by the way. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. One of the interesting things about this circuit is the track record for this circuit is actually a 30.767 set by Adrian Fernandez in a Lola T96/00 in 1996. So there we go. A long old time ago, but it's going to be absolutely amazing. And if it's anything like Daytona last week, I think we're in for an absolute treat of a race here this evening. We do have 2 stages tonight. Stage 1 is at lap 30. Stage 2 is at lap 45. And then, of course, we do have 3 tyre sets. Now, we are expecting the fuel to last between 20 and 25 laps. So we're going to have to see how they get on there with their fuel management situation. But I think it's time to bring Kenton into the booth. Good, well, evening for you, Kenton. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, yeah. Good evening. It's just past dinner here, so but doing well, keeping busy, doing all the good stuff, enjoying some nice NASCAR out in Michigan.
Yeah, it should be absolutely amazing, and I think that's one of the things we can look forward to is the amazing racing here tonight as well. What we will do is we'll bring you up the current championship standings. So Daniel Michael is leading the way on 52 points with Mark Frimpong on 44. Joshua McGuigan on 44. Sorry, Mark Frimpong on 45. Josh McGuigan on 44. Alex Witt on 41. Cody Kern on 38. Armand Brousseau on 35. Rob Sizemore on 33. Zachary Lewis on 32. Terry Spainhauer on 32 as well. Sean Britt, 31. Zach Skerr on 29. Michael McElroy on 27, Christian Strada on 26, Calvin Ross on 25, Noel Hanna on 23, Oscar Henson on 22, Justin Johnson on 20 with Anthony Radel also on 20. Now beyond that, Gregory Sherman sitting there on 20, so we've got a trio of cars on 20 points, Brandon McLaughlin on 18 and Andrew Onquist on 17 and Sartaj Man on 16 points there. Daytona was an interesting one, wasn't it, really, last week? You know, I think it kind of broke ground on the season opener, but it was definitely didn't fail to deliver, especially towards the end of the race.
Yeah, it was definitely a little spicy near the end with a couple of pretty big crashes, sort of setting the table anew as they were going around, and some people who were obviously near the front had a little bit of an unfortunate time. If I remember correctly, I think Noel had a spin near the end that when he was in the lead and ended up bumping him pretty far back. So it definitely got a little spicy, definitely a little action near the end. So we'll hopefully see some action with less spinning out, less crashes on this one, but we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, we definitely had two big ones last week, and necessarily, normally you would expect one big one, but we had two, and I think we were graced there as well, the fact that we did have two, and it was just unfortunate towards the end there with Alex Witt, who got tapped on his rear right corner, and then next thing you know, carnage, wasn't it? It was unbelievable amount of carnage. I didn't even, normally I have like a running sheet that I write things down on, and I didn't write that one down because there was just so many cars involved. I didn't really know what to write down. I just think I actually just put chaos at the end. That was it, because I just couldn't comprehend what had happened towards the end. It was absolutely amazing racing, and I don't think this is going to be any different. So there is the schedule on screen. We're currently at Michigan. Then on the 24th, we go to Dover, which, well, that's going to be an interesting one after that. Then on January 31st, we go off to COTA, and that rounds out January's action. February down in Nashville. Then we go to Charlotte Oval as well. And then Sonoma. I believe there is actually a change for Nashville. It's going to the 7th of February due to Valentine's Day. And being that all of us, enjoy our lives and we enjoy our wives and we don't want to be sleeping on the sofa, we have got Valentine's Day off for the obvious reason that we don't want to be sleeping on the sofa for the next month. I'd like to see the brave man who's going to pick the racing over his wife, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure that I would. I don't believe anybody else would in this world. So there we go. And then we round off February at Sonoma on the February 28th. But you can see the rest of the calendar there. It will be a 16-race season. Last 4 races being the playoffs. So that's going to be spicy to see who ends up in the playoffs, who misses out, who's going to be racing for the title at Homestead on May the 16th. So stay tuned because it's going to be absolutely incredible. Billy Cooper's in chat. Let's go, Spain Hour, she says. So there we go. But it's a great season to look forward to. Now, we were talking off cam about Dover. Dover's a bit of a different entity to these circuits that we've been on for the first 2, aren't they, really?
Definitely. I mean, it's a lot smaller. I believe it's about a 1 mile track overall, so it's a little tighter. The banking on even your straightaways is increased a fair amount, actually, a surprising amount. I believe you were looking at 2 degrees in Daytona on the backstretch. It's 5 degrees here, I believe, on the backstretch as well, and then over in Dover it's 9. So on both straightaways, so it's a little more aggressive on that banking throughout the straightaways. The corners are, I believe, 18 as well to kind of match Michigan here, as these have the 18-degree corners. So it definitely makes for a lot more of an interesting kind of technique on how you're going to get around it without introducing your front right to the wall. So and hopefully not taking anyone out with you. But yeah, it'll definitely be a change of pace from the super speedways.
Definitely will be, and I think that's going to deliver some absolute incredible racing. We do have a 75 lap race here this evening, and we do have 22 cars on track getting ready. Well, I can really only say just sit back and get ready to enjoy this, because I think this is going to be somewhat of a I think I can only put it down to being a battle. And the reason why is because we saw so much last week in the way that the cars were moving around. Noel Hanna was, well, incredibly aggressive. And I think he even mentioned in YouTube chat that Noel Hanna was well aggressive, on what he was doing. So I think from that point of view, this could be an interesting one, don't we think? This could be really, really spicy and a lot more sort of movements and around, and hopefully not more big ones that we saw last week.
Yeah, hopefully we can avoid the big ones again. But I mean, yeah, it's a little different in the track style. It is still going to be very reliant on your draft. If you're hopping out into a lane or into a groove that doesn't have anybody else in it, you're going to lose spots. And that's just the nature of speedways and things like that. But with these guys, unlike Daytona, I mean, you have to lift going into the corners. You can't just foot down, let's go. You're going to have to do a little bit of lifting, a little more throttle control coming through that corner to try and keep the tires from spinning yourself out and again, going super high and dragging yourself along the wall. But I would say in comparison to Daytona, you do get a little more width on the corners. So there's a little more maneuverability to be able to get out of trouble if you need to, or get away from trouble if there happens to have any pop up that you have to get away from very quickly. You have a little more maneuverability there. But I wouldn't be shocked if we saw a couple of times cars going 3 wide through these corners with that extra space.
3 wide?
Well, I could see it. I mean, 75-foot corners, it gives you, there's a few grooves on there. I know with having driven around Michigan a few times just to get comfortable with it and see how it feels, the bottom lane, the bottom groove isn't necessarily always the fastest. I've seen a few guys that were hugging kind of that middle groove and doing very, very well. So I could see it getting a little higher as people try to get through, especially if you can get a little bit of a pack to run with you up there. It could get a little hairy getting into some of these corners.
Well, let's keep an eye out and see what happened. Daniel Michael is top of the time tower on 38.59 in this 2-lap quali. Josh McGuigan currently sitting on 38.62. Terry Spainhour, for all the love for Terry Spainhour, is there in 4th place now. Noel Hanna is just taking him at the end, but Josh McGuigan seems to be flying along quite nicely as well. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how these guys play this. I think NASCAR is kind of a new love for me at the moment, because normally us, English UK individuals over here, this side of the pond, just think they go left and put their foot down. But having broadcasted NASCAR now, and doing a couple of series, it's a completely different entity to what we think compared to track racing, isn't it? Yes, it is just going left, and yes, you are just putting your foot on the throttle and feathering it, and But explain to the people at home, because Kenton, you got like a wealth full of knowledge of NASCAR. What is it that these drivers have got to go through every time they're on the racetrack? Because it isn't just throttle to the floor and turn left, is it?
No, it definitely isn't as much as, it definitely comes across that way. And if you really, really boil it down, that's, basically what NASCAR will be in track racing, at least in the oval racing. Once we get to Dakota, you'll see a little bit more of the road stuff and how it can differ through there. But I mean, in comparison to something like F1 or GT, obviously it's going to have a much different set of problems, because slipstreams are important in F1. Like you want to be able to hold that slipstream, or in GT just to get yourself that little extra speed. Whereas in NASCAR, it's not so much about just wanting to get that extra speed. It's more so trying to not lose speed and utilizing that just basic drafting in a way that's also defensive. Like if you're able to create side draft, you can not only pull a guy back to you a little bit, but also push yourself ahead, because you're feeding your extra dirty air into the front of him while he's also dealing with some of his. So it can definitely create a lot more, and it definitely makes it a little more interesting than just turning left. And obviously, feathering the throttle through corners, like with the banking you have on some of these corners, if you accelerate a little bit too early, your tires can completely just lose all grip, and you're kind of hooped. You either shoot straight up into the wall if you get a little tight or a little loose, or you can even just touch that apron where they're not really cleaning out any of the tire marbles and things like that, and it's a little dirtier, and lose your grip and end up in the grass and hopefully not taking out anybody with you. But it's rather easy to cause a problem if you're not careful. So you definitely have to be on top of it and really know what's going on at all times. And with tight packs like this, it definitely gets a little white knuckly at some points for a lot of people as you're trying to not take out the 13 cars surrounding you at once.
Yeah, I can see the grid is on your screen there. Hopefully you can all see that adequately as I work frantically in the background to resolve the size. Stephen Llewellyn is on pole position, Josh McGuigan in second, Daniel Michael third, Kevin Coleman is in fourth, Sawyer Gara is in fifth. There's a new one to the series this week. Noel Hannah in sixth, Brandon McLaughlin seventh, Zachary Lewis in eighth, Christian Strada in ninth, Alex Wick 10th, Zach Scary, I can't remember which way, 11 in, Terry Spainhour is in 12th place. Beyond that, you've got Oscar Henson 13th, Calvin Ross 14th, Andrew Onquist 15th, Rob Sizemore 16th, Chi Kuba in 17th, Armand Brusso 18th, Michael McElroy 19th, Sean Britt 20th, Anthony Radel 21, and Gregory Sherman rounds out the grid on 22 there. 22 cars on track. It's going to get interesting, isn't it, to say the least, with that amount of cars, I think. Yeah, it's not a 37 car field that would probably just be absolutely chaotic, but it's enough to deal with there, the drivers and everything else that we've got. And excuse me why things just stop randomly popping up on my screen. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. But it's a nice field size, isn't it? 22, really. It's not too overly heavy, but it's just manageable, the right kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you've got enough guys that it can definitely be very interesting, but not too many that you're very likely to cause big problems. I still expect that we'll see a couple of caution flags, a couple guys get a little loose. Especially as the cars, their tires start to degrade and things like that, getting a little bit loose, a little understeer, drifting a little bit. You definitely have to stay on top of that and keeping control of your throttle and not over committing to it too quickly and making sure you definitely keep your lines, obviously, because you don't want to drift up into the next guy. But it could definitely get a little hairy with 22 people. That's not necessarily easy. But at the same time, I could see it being a fairly clean race. You got lots of space. Like I said, corners are 73 feet with another, I believe it's 10 feet of apron underneath. So there's a good amount of space you have to get it kind of around things as problems occur. So I think it'll be a very interesting mix of situations to occur.
Yep, I think it's going to be spicy, guys. We are going to be underway very, very shortly. So last time to get your drinks, because you're not going to want to miss any of this action here tonight. Broadcast live on the JPB YouTube channel with myself and Kenton Sportak joining me as well. So sit back, get ready to hold on, because this is going to be absolutely amazing. And I cannot wait for this as the pace car goes in. Here we go. Steve Llewellyn is going to lead us away into the Geico restart zone we go. And we are green here in Michigan. Steve Llewellyn, Josh McGuigan, Daniel Michael, Sawyer Gara there as well. And instantly, Kenton, we can see the free wide split almost going back already here. Starting off in the middle with Brandon McLaughlin, and then behind that we've got Christian Strada, Terry Spainhour, all looking at that free wide line already. And that's kind of what this track can give us.
Yeah, definitely. With those little bit wider corners, you can definitely fit that extra car in there a little more comfortably. So I wouldn't be surprised seeing a guy or two decide to take a risk and try and throw it up on that outside just to kind of hold it on. But you could see right away what happened with that. Llewellyn, he had the pole position, and he's already dropped down to fourth place just because he got left out on an island by himself, and a group decided to go right to the front. So there was a group of three. They all went right by him, and he had nowhere to go. He couldn't slot himself back up and kind of just got a little bit lost in the shuffle, if you will, as McQuiggan, Michael, and Coleman all just kind of ripped on past.
Yeah, definitely on that one. But just McQuiggan, Kevin Coleman, Daniel Michael, Steve Llewellyn here at the four of them. They are a little bit wider back there as well. Brandon McLaughlin is involved with Soyagara and Alex Witt. Of course, Alex was involved in that big one at the end of the race at Daytona. They are barely still majoritively bunched together, which I suppose is a good thing. But there's a lot of different lines here tonight, isn't there? They seem to be spread out all across the track, and everybody's trying something different.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to just there's much more space. And multiple grooves being viable at the same time. It's not necessarily lowest groove wins or high groove wins. You can run either or and still get a pretty good release out of the corners and not be stressed out that you're going to get lost too hard if you've got some people around you. But yeah, if you're running that mid sort of ish area, it seems to be working pretty well for a lot of guys. Not a lot are wanting to get down all the way to the apron, whether it's conserving tires or just trying to keep it from having to get too risk the touching that apron and spinning out. But for right now, yeah, most guys are kind of sticking a little bit away from the apron, giving it a little bit of space there just to keep their car under control for now.
Yeah, how slippery is it? Because I've driven these cars, and if I'm on the apron, I'm in trouble. It could be that I'm trying to avoid something, or it could be that I've just decided it was a good idea to run too shallow on the corner. How slippery can the apron be, though? Because I saw it in practice when I was watching the session. A couple of people spun coming out the pit lane because they're full throttle. What is it with the apron that makes it so treacherous at times?
For the most part, it comes down to debris. I mean, at these, they're banked, so a lot of the time, a lot of the tire killing and rubber that peels off, things like that, it just travels down the track after a while and kind of gets brushed down there and sort of out of the way off the main part of the track, but then it creates kind of gaps in your grip on on the tires themselves, and you kind of just lose grip. So it becomes almost like ice skates as soon as you hit that apron. Obviously, you won't immediately spin out, especially if you're on a straightaway. You still have a little bit more grip that way, but coming down on a corner, yeah, it can definitely cost you pretty significantly and pretty quickly if you aren't completely under control going into that, and especially at the speeds these guys are going. You're looking, almost 200 miles per hour consistently. You get a little squirrely and lose a little bit of contact, it can send you pretty fast.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things these guys have got to look out for. We seem to be settling down a bit at the moment. Josh McGuigan out in front, Kev Coleman, Alex Witt, Stephen Llewellyn, Daniel Michael, Noel Hanna as well. There is Noel. He was quite a topic of the conversation last week, wasn't he? Because he was very aggressive in his driving. That I don't think any. Oh no!
We jinxed him. Oh, as he hits a little air and comes back on. Unfortunately, makes contact with the. Yeah, that is the 15 there. So a little unfortunate. I didn't quite see who caused that one. It did seem like he had contact with the. I think it was the 21. It might have been, but he got a little contact. The 81 there. It was the 81 he had contact with, and that just kind of sent everything around. Yeah, there it is. Oh, there's two. There was the 32 up ahead of him with the 25. Unfortunately, it looks like a double kind of combination, and then just unfortunately the 7 wasn't able to keep it low or anything and tried to rejoin, lost control, and ended up right in the way of the 15 there, making a little bit more of an accident. So rather unfortunate, but that first caution, we're on lap 8. Might be a little early for tires, but I don't know how quickly you're going to see guys getting another caution here. So it all kind of comes down to what they're feeling.
Yeah, that was a. So where are we looking at, do you think? Do we think we're looking at Llewellyn, Noel Hanna? Oh, there was this 25 going already. So if that hadn't been caused, I suppose,
that second hit, that one's a little interesting because I'm not sure really what he could have done. And obviously the 15 could do nothing at that point, but it looked like Hanna was trying to kind of get his car back under control and hop back on the track. And I think it was just unfortunately not going to happen and not end well. But it looks like, yeah, everyone in the outside of the top 4 are all going to be pitting. And then a couple of guys kind of straggling through as well. Rod Sizemore, Chikuba, not pitting as well. But so yeah, it looks like our top 6 decided to not take the pit stop. It is a little early. We do have 3 sets of tires here, but it's kind of one of those things where you have to weigh that risk reward, and it looks like Coleman and Witt, Strader and Spinauer kind of hoping for another caution flag a little bit later on there to kind of get them through there.
Yeah, because they are going to have to go. We think if it runs up until the end of the stage, if they can get to the end of the stage in the first run, they might, and I'm going to say it precariously, they might be okay to reach the stage end, won't they? If they've not been involved in obviously too much. Could they get to the stage end with this caution in place at the moment?
It will be touch and go. I mean, if there's no caution before, if there's another caution in, say, 10 laps, I almost guarantee they'll all pit. If there's no caution and it goes green, you start running the risk of a green pit stop or a pit stop under green conditions. And if you do that, you're hooped. You're looking at about 38-ish seconds, not including the pit stop itself, just to get through there. Which definitely can cause. I mean, that's 2-3 laps that you could be down pretty quickly if you're kind of rushing in there and hoping to get a full top up on fuel and 4 tires. Definitely makes for not ideal situation for you. So they're going to be hoping pretty hard. I don't know if I'd want to try and push to the end of the stage. I'd be really begging for something else at that point to happen, but they're going to have to hope.
They definitely are. The temperature, 36 degrees, track temperature, 25 past 1 in the afternoon here at Michigan. So, and we're already on our first caution there, which is a bit of a shame. As I say, wasn't expecting it quite this early on lap 7. But, you know, accidents happen, doesn't it? I don't think he was going to be the only one, though, because, as you say, we did have the car off in front of him already going, wasn't they? They were already heading that way. So, you know, was it avoidable? Maybe. Was it going to happen? Was it going to be a caution? Probably, because there was already people in the pits with Steve Llewellyn there, but there was already somebody else in front of him spinning, Kenton. So yeah, I suppose it's tough, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it looked like when the 25 car made contact up ahead and caused the kind of that sort of initial spin, it looked like Noah Hanna was actually trying to move up to avoid it, and then just happened to catch the 81 at the same time, and it just kind of caused that cascade of spinning out there. So it could have been maybe avoidable, but and we're back under. Yeah,
back under green. Kevin Coleman, Alex Witt, Christian Strada, Terry Spainhauer is up into 4th. Don't forget, these guys have not pitted. Neither has Rob Sizemore, so they are going to be coming under pressure, as you can see the 92 car of Josh McGuigan making gains like an absolute trooper. Currently at the moment, that's 2 he's passed already from the restart. And is it the new tyres playing the effect that we're seeing currently with McGuigan?
It definitely could be. I mean, you get that little extra grip just to be able to fire off and hold your line going through those corners. It will be a benefit. I mean, he's going to be stealing as much draft as he can from the cars up ahead and hoping to pull away from the 86 of Terry Spainhauer as he's trying to get through here. Like I said, you got to let off, so it gets a little spicy in there. But I mean, Coleman seemed to have just a fabulous restart. He just took off and didn't look back at all. But yeah, you can see. I mean, that's between McGuigan and Michael. They're both pit that last with that caution, and they've just basically started climbing up the leaderboard here very quickly.
Yeah, Josh McGuigan up into 4th place here as well. I think, as I say, if they can get to the first stage, that will be, well, hopefully unbelievable, really. But let's hope that we can get there, and we will be able to get some of these guys in. If you say, because if they have got a pit under green flag, they are going to lose time. And Daniel Michael flying along with Josh McGuigan in front of him. In front of that, Kevin Strider, Alex Witt, and Kevin Coleman. So settling down a little bit. Here we go again. We're back underway here at Michigan, all ready to go, and currently on lap 14 of 75. The first caution is down already. That took place on lap 7. Noel Hanna involved in that incident there as well. Michael McElroy, Zachary Lewis. There is Zachary there, dropping down through currently turn 2 before he goes on that run through to 3 and 4 here this evening. Okay, they seem a bit more, I don't know, single line consistent, I think, here at the moment.
Yeah, it's everyone's just trying to utilize as much of a trap as they can to try and reel things in. You saw that Zachary was kind of losing spots to the 83 of Michael McElroy right ahead of him, as he kind of was out of position in a sense. He just didn't have his space, didn't have his running partner, and it kind of cost him at least a spot, and almost cost him a second one as Chi Kuba almost went by him there. But yeah, and then you can see it again. Michael Daniel just getting kind of left in the dust as he's trying to hold on to any form of it. Well, you see the it looks like the 29. He's now going to get left out, and you're going to see him. McQuiggan almost deciding to stick with that lower group, but they stayed high, and then you're going to slowly see, unfortunately, Alex Witt sort of have to slot behind him as they kind of lose that space, as there's a little bit of contact made there. Nothing too serious, just a little love tap to hey, I'm here. But yeah, you can see Coleman's trying to kind of, you'll see him wiggle every once in a while, and that's not so much losing control. It's more him trying to break the slipstream so he's able to kind of get that little bit of a breather from the guys, and yeah, now Alex Witt and Christian Strader just trying to work together to sort of kind of get through and past Coleman there.
Yeah, do you know the weirdest thing is, between here and Daytona, they seem a lot more sporadic in their positioning. You know, Daytona, they were fairly uniform. You know, they all run the same line, but here it seems a bit more, I don't know, it's almost like a jigsaw puzzle. You know, Josh McGuigan here fighting in the middle with a double O car of Kev Coleman. You know, and they've also got Daniel Michael involved in this, and the back marker of Stephen Llewellyn, who is currently about 5 laps down at the moment. But they all seem a lot more, not so much regimental in their lines, is it? I was kind of coming into Michigan expecting a 2-line run. And then you were talking, saying off broadcast, oh yeah, it's possible to get 3 lines, and I was made up at that point. I was like, let's go, 3 lines, let's have some of it. But they don't seem to be doing anything consistently, and they're all over the track. They're up, they're down, they're round. You know, how comes they're not running in that consistent 2 lines that we're expecting with the inner line and the outer line?
I think it's all going to come down to the fact that there are so many grooves on this track that are viable. Like you can see that, you know, the lower line, they're moving very quickly. The top line was still holding on pretty well as well. At one point you had the 3 of them high line going through corners and, you know, passing guys. It kind of speaks to the versatility, I guess, of the cornering on this track, with how much space you can move around, and because of how much space there is, it kind of talks to how much availability for maneuvering there is without really falling behind or necessarily losing a spot, as long as you've got someone to go with you. If you're trying to make a move solo and you've got nothing, you're gonna have a little bit more trouble with it. But if you're able to move around and you've got, you know, a guy or 2 with you that can kind of create that little bit of a pack, then there's a little contact again between the 92 and the 29. They're liking each other's doors a bit, but you can definitely get going. Like Alex is going to give a little bump draft here and kind of get everything moving on a little faster coming into this corner, but you don't necessarily have to drop down and run, you know, high on the straights, low on the corners. You can stick with that outside line the whole way through and still do pretty well and still hold on to it pretty nicely.
Yeah, I was just quite interested to see the movement so much of them around the track. I think that's one of the things that, obviously, from my point of view, you know, that was Chi Kuba? It was. Chi Kuba literally took the nose off what I believe to be the Oscar Henston there, and I thought that was going to end up coming together there. Chi Kuba went up to high on the track Poor old Oscar Henson was in that part of the run line, and then he got his nose absolutely clean taken off. But Alex Witt has taken up the mantle. Very unlucky last week, wasn't he, in Daytona? We expected it to be a completely different scenario for Alex Witt, and it just didn't quite work, couldn't run in his favour in the end, towards the end of the race.
Yeah, he had an unfortunate little bit of contact at the end there, and it knocked him very much out of sort of out of contention there, and an unfortunate moment there for Michael as he kind of clips the wall, costing himself a little bit of time, allowing McQuiggan to get through and up into second there. But yeah, Witt seems to be more or less recovered, I guess, from last week. He's running really smooth, running really strong, kind of putting it onto his own shoulders by taking the lead and kind of hoping it goes well for him there. As you see Michael trying to kind of slot himself back in with that top groove as Strader is flying through on the bottom, and this is what I mean. Like there's 4 lines easily guys are running right now between all the different cars as they're just trying to find what's working and what's quick and what momentum and who's got kind of that little bit of a slingshot out of the corner just to try and create as much space as they can and get away from the guys behind them.
Yeah. I think that's going to be one of the interesting things of tonight. You can hear the slight little lift. And away we go again. Off round turn 2 onto that back straight. There's slight little movements in front as well. So they're going to have to keep an eye on how the front line moves, because Michael McElroy and I believe Daniel Michael and Christian Strada, it looked like Strada had almost put himself into the wall. Terry Spainhour for everybody. Lydia, that's my husband. There's Lydia in YouTube chat, and Drop Shot Prodigy, that's my brother. So a lot of love for this man, Terry Spainhour, currently at the moment as well. I hope Lydia, cheering your man on. We've got 5 to go before the end of the stage. So if they could get to this one, this is where we were talking about though, wasn't it, when we mentioned that whether or not they were going to hit green under the first stage, and touch wood, seems to be that way.
Yeah, I mean, they're seemingly staying green, and obviously, yeah, like we had talked about, there's a good chunk of movement, a lot more of it happening on that back straight and front straight there, and the biggest reasoning is, yeah, guys just trying to break drafts and stuff like that, trying to reduce the amount of guys behind them getting draft while trying to take advantage of the draft ahead of them and things like that. But yeah, it's I'm actually kind of shocked we've gone this far without another caution. But yeah, the guys in Kevin Coleman looks like he has to come in under green. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if that's a fuel thing, but that's going to be rather unfortunate. He is going to lose a good chunk of time very quickly, but it looks like he's not. It looks like there might have been
he's on his way out. It can't be anything else. Can't be anything else apart from a pit stop.
Yeah, it looks like, just a quick little pit stop. He was in and out pretty quickly there, but he's definitely going to lose spots. Like, he's now down. It looks like he might even get lapped there. As a couple other guys, a lot of the guys that didn't pit yet are now having to come in under green flag conditions. Yeah. So fuel might have been a problem, or their tires are just going on them, whatever it was. So I think it's going to come, when's Witt going to pit? Is he going to try and push it a little further? Because he's, I think it's him, Sakir and Anthony Randall are the three in the top 10 there that are sort of waiting for it. Rod Sizemore in 10th has also not pit, and then Chikuba. But yeah, so there's Witt coming in, and again, it's unfortunate because there's Chikuba going in as well, because that's when you're going to lose your time, is having to pit under green flag conditions. Now this might work out in their favor, because depending how long we go green, the guys that pit under that first caution will eventually have to pit as well again. And if they have to do it under green flag conditions, things will kind of work their way out in the wash, but it's risky to have to do it. Yeah,
it is. And Rob Sizemore is taking that risk, and he hasn't pitted where we expected everybody else. We thought he might have got in and pitted there as well. Oh, he is now.
Yeah, he's going in there now.
As I talk about it, I thought he was going to be a hero. He chops down on the inside and pits. So there we go. But Rob Sizemore coming in as well. He was the last of the runners that haven't pitted, but Sizemore is and done and dusted. We are going to be stage ending in 2 laps time. leader, should we say, is Josh McGuigan, Michael McElroy, Daniel Michael behind him, Zaskare behind that as well. They've just swapped positions. Anthony Radel, Sawyer Gara, Sean Britt, Oscar Henson, Noel Hanna, and Armand Brousseau. This is what we were talking about last week with Daytona with Armand as well. Like, oh, blimey, he did not leave her in a lot of room. Armand was there just when I was talking to him out of the, away from the broadcast, was just like, I'm just here to make numbers up. And then last week, he goes and absolutely smashes it and has an amazing race.
That's the beauty of NASCAR. I mean, one little thing can happen and the entire running order can change. And we saw it, the second big one that we had. I mean, it shook up the entire field pretty quickly.
It definitely did. Armand finished second with Frimpong first, Daniel Michael third, and Armand Brousseau in second place. So absolutely stunning there as well. Josh McGuigan still all the way around. You can see the gap from the back from Armand Brousseau in 10th to the guys up front. The gap looked absolutely ginormous. And there's Oscar Henson and Noel, and then we got behind that, we got Noel Hanna, who was involved obviously in the first yellow. Caution is out. That is the end of the stage. Josh McGuigan will take the stage 1 victory.
And see, this is where it's going to get interesting, because they did have that first caution after 8 laps. So if you're that first group that pit, I mean, we're looking at almost 30 lap old. We're pushing 22, 23 lap old tires right now. Depending how much fuel you threw in during that caution, I mean, these guys are going to have to start getting kind of concerned on whether they're going to have to pit again now, or do you wait and hope for another caution after the stage restarts?
All right, so you're in the car, okay? You're driving around, you pitted on lap 7 because you thought it was a good idea. What are you going to do now? Knowing that you've now come to the end of the stage, you're on 23 lap old tire, 23 because it was on lap 7. What are you going to do?
If I'm me in this car currently, and I'm leading, I would question if I needed to. I mean, I don't know if Josh and them, if they took 2 tires or if they took all 4. If they only took 2 tires, I guess then it would come down to how much fuel you put in. But it looks like he's gonna pit here anyways. Yeah, I was gonna say they're kind of old. You've got 3 sets plus yours, so it almost seems worth it. Just risk it. I'd rather do it now when you know for sure you're getting that pit. Whereas anyone in the back, those guys that came in near the end there. So yes, Coleman, Spainhour, yeah, they're gonna get up to the front right away. But now if you go green till the next stage end, these guys are gonna be a little more interesting, and a lot of these guys are a lap down, so they're actually not even gonna come necessarily back out in front. Like, I think it's gonna be a little interesting. I think Kevin might get his way up to the front here. Spainhour. It looks like Kevin Coleman also has entered the pits again, which is kind of interesting there. But like Terry Spainhour, I mean, he's still, I think, a lap down as they're coming through. So it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be in front, and I think it was just because they unfortunately couldn't make it that extra lap to get to the end, or the extra couple laps to get to the end there. So I think it's a good idea to pit now, if you could, just because you reduce the chances of you needing and begging for that caution flag at the end. So,
well, stay tuned, guys. It is going to be rather interesting here as well. Don't forget, guys, as well, you can head over to the JBB Instagram as well. Go and check them out. We are currently in the process of doing a giveaway. When we hit 300 followers, we will give £50 worth of iRacing vouchers, dollars, whatever you want to call them, the currency for iRacing. We will give £50. You have to like the post, follow JBB, and share the post, okay? So be aware. There are 3 things you have to do: like, follow, and share the post to be in with an opportunity as well. Okay, so make sure you head over to the JPB Instagram, get yourselves involved in that, and be in with a chance when we hit 300 followers of winning £50 worth of iRacing vouchers. Now, that should be fun for anybody to get involved with. How are you, James? I'm very well, thank you very much. I am sat here watching NASCAR this is the stage end, Mr. Peebles. This is not a caution as in there is an incident. This is the stage end. So end of stage 1. Then we got stage 2 at 45, and then we run to the straight end up to 75 laps. Wow. It's going to be a meaty third run, isn't it, really?
It definitely will be. I mean, stage 1 is pretty had a good chunk to it, and then stage 2 is a little quicker. So I wouldn't be surprised if we make it straight through or no one really pits unless there's a desperate need on a caution due to like damage or anything like that. But it's less than 15 laps once we get racing green again, so you could definitely push that to the end if especially if you pit in that situation during this caution here for the stage end. If you hadn't, it'd be a little more interesting, a little more I don't know, but guys, yeah, like that did pit during that. I think you should be able to make it to the end of the next stage pretty comfortably.
Okay, well, let's pray that as we are just about to be going green. There's Barney, the flag bearer, the strongest right arm in iRacing. We're into the Geico Rico zone now, and he's there waving. He is there waving. Barney's up, and away he goes. And Daniel Michael got an absolute storming start there. Jumped, well, left Josh McGuigan really. Kenton, and the way he went already at the steady restart.
Yeah, it was a wonderful restart for him. He definitely got himself out, got himself up to the top there, and a little bit of meeting the wall for McElroy behind them. But McQuiggan, definitely a gamer, and not letting him manage to get back in front and kind of take that low move around the corner and get himself up. Now the question will be if he can make it stick. Obviously, neither of them really has a running partner to try and get that draft off of, so it's going to be a little more interesting for me than they're going to have to fight their way through. But it does look like the 22 car is in again here. So.
Stephen Llewellyn's well out of sync, though, isn't he? Well out of sync. He was in repairs 5.5 minutes, and he was just well out of sync of everybody else. So I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, there was. Where is it? There was a Sean Britt was off. Ooh. But there was more contact there, I believe, as well.
Looks like Daniel Michael also dropping pretty quickly there. Not sure what happened. Yeah, the 20 car dropped very quickly. Calvin Ross, it looks like, also at the back. Oh, okay, so as the 16 kind of got a little squirrely and caught the 98 and sent him of Sean Britt there. That's rather unfortunate. So, yeah, it looked like the 16 of Zachary Lewis just got a little squirrely and happened to, unfortunately, make contact with Sean.
There we go. Sean Britt is the man on that one involved with Zachary Lewis, but he did come in thick and fast. Third caution of the evening. Obviously, 2 forced cautions, 1 stage caution, so the only second forced caution, really. Where are we going to lie here? Because these cautions means these drivers have got to make a decision, right? They either start going in and thinking, what am I going to do? There was people out of sorts at the end of the stage. For me, personally, I would sit back and think, if I go at the end of the stage, going now, like some of them have done, Brandon McLaughlin and Kevin Coleman, it will put me back on sync with everybody else when it comes to the end of the stage, will it not? Because obviously there's that overlap.
It definitely would, but I had almost thought that Kevin Coleman had come in at the end of the stage to begin with. So unless he got a penalty or something wrong that popped up there, I'm not really sure why pitting now it would be definitely, like, I don't see it being necessarily the right call. Because, like I said, I was pretty certain, yeah, that's his 3rd pit stop, so he must have gotten damage or something, because that's 3 sets of tires that he's used already, and we're pushing halfway kind of thing, almost there. It seems like an odd thing to have done, but I unfortunately don't know what's going on with his car, so he might have had to, might have not had a choice, or he might have at one point when he was under green there had just gone in for just fuel. So it all kind of depends sort of what they were doing on there. on their pit stop, but it seems like a weird timing. We were only 4 laps green after the end of that the stage, so seems a little early to have gone in, but that's why they're racing, and I'm up here talking about it.
The famous last words of a commentator is, "That's why I'm up in a booth," and now sat down there in the car. Because, as you say, we don't know what's going on. But as I say, surely this pit stop's got to give the lap 7 pit stoppers, the top 5 that we had earlier on, surely that's got to give them the opportunity to get near and near about the same amount of lap times running, because we haven't been running very long. You know, probably about another 4 laps, if that. So surely that's got to put them in good stead, I would have thought, when it comes to the next round of pit stops. Hopefully, touch wood, at the end of the stage, which is in 7 laps time.
Yeah, I would have waited unless you had damage till the end of the stint, and now again, maybe Coleman got some damage in an earlier stint in that first stint and had some optional repairs that he wanted to get dealt with but didn't want to lose too much time on, so he went back in just to get a little bit extra work done while he swapped over, and he hadn't taken a set of tires. I don't know, but it seems kind of weird to have come out that quickly after he had been in at the end of the stage to pit again. So unless he's hoping that his next set of tires is going to push him past and he's able to kind of hold on while everyone else is in the pits at the end of the second stage, he can stay out. But yeah, that's I'm not sure what that was, so we'll have to ask him at some point.
There we go. That's a fair enough comment, because to be honest, neither of us really do know here. So these guys are coming around turn 4. No Pete Van Newman in this. No Dan. That was a reference to an earlier broadcast with Dan mixing up 2 drivers' names and giving them a completely different one. So well done, Dan Peebles. But we are coming around for the starters flag again. They are there. And here we go. We are green underway once more here in Michigan. And again, Daniel Michael got an absolute barnstorm in the way off into the start zone, and away he went. Josh McGuigan sitting in second. Sawyer Gara third. Noel Hanna in 4th place. Alex Witt locked in that pack in the middle. But again, Daniel Michael just seemed to bolt, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Definitely got a good little run there. And unfortunately, Alex Witt almost got collected again. But he managed to kind of save it and keep it going there. But yeah, Daniel Michael seems to have that restart unlock. And then, yeah, once again, McQuiggan coming right back at him. They're definitely not showing each other any love. A little bit of a bump there as they're fighting their way through, but it looks like McQuiggan might hold a little bit of a lead coming out of turn 4, or turn 2, sorry, as they kind of try and side draft each other, and then McQuiggan's going to just tuck behind him and take his draft as much as he can, and they almost trying to kind of open up a spacing from the 2 of them to everybody else between them. So
I think that's going to be one of the interesting things as well here this evening. The swapping around and movement, and lucky enough it's not what we saw in Daytona though, where they were rubbing the end of the bumpers and moving off the side, you know, almost sort of what kind of Noel Hanna was really pushing last week. We're not seeing that, and I think does that come down to the fact that they are got a wider space to deal with, that they've got that movement that they can, you know, move around almost, I want to say move around safely, if you get what I mean, without coming near too many people, to be honest.
Yeah, they kind of have that little bit more wiggle room to make moves happen, where, I mean, I think Daytona, I believe it's about a 40-foot wide track. Like, that's, you got to think, going around a corner that's 40 feet wide compared to going around a corner that's 73 feet wide. Like, there's a lot more maneuverability in that area. You're able to do a little bit more. You're able to go 3 wide, like these guys are coming out of it. Well, a little bit of contact, but they saved it. Thankfully, no one's spinning out of there, but you're able to go 3 like that. Right now, we've got cars, 3-4 wide, 2 deep here, and as they kind of filter out a little bit as guys back down and things like that. But like, it's a lot easier to do that kind of stuff without risking as much at the same time. Like, obviously, it's still a risk to go 3 wide no matter what you're doing, because one guy gets loose and that can ruin a couple of guys' races very quickly. But you run a little less risk with having as much space as these guys do coming out of these corners.
Yeah, they are going to come racing towards us there.
Looks like Randall is kind of showing up out of nowhere there. He's up into 3rd place. He's gained 18 spots in this race. He's having himself a quietly nice little drive here.
Yeah, it's just kind of about a bit. So you can see the spread of the cars.
Whoa, that looked like someone went off.
Going?
No caution though. It looks like, I think that was Kevin Coleman. He unfortunately got knocked into the grass in the infield there as they were coming through, but he managed to kind of get himself collected and stay calm. And while he did lose placing, he didn't really end up meeting too much of a problem there. Yeah, it looked like
that was a big knock.
It was. That looked like Sean Britt just kind of gave him a quick little shot there. But he was able to, kind of hold on. Looks like he avoided entering the pit, so he shouldn't get a black flag on that either. Might get an off track, but he'll survive to fight a little longer on in this race.
Yeah, I think that's definitely probably a moment that Kevin Coleman did not want there. On lap 44, I don't think he would have been too happy about getting knocked into. And that was quite that was a hard tap as well. That wasn't just Britt giving him almost a little love tap, was it? He hit quite hard there and sent him off. So, yeah, I'm just glad that Kevin Coleman's still in the race. But not sure what the conversation might be after with Sean Britt, to be honest. Oh! Well, there we go.
Sean gets just dumped there, so
he's coming back across the track. Oh!
Looks like he was able to kind of avoid most of it afterwards. There's a little bit of a gap from him to the next grouping, so interesting now though, because I know it was lap 40. This end of second stage is coming up right away here. Yeah, so I mean, most of these guys, if I'm anyone, especially in the front here, I'm pitting. I went hopping into that pits, and it looks like he kind of drifted up on the 21 there. Didn't give him a whole lot of movement.
Yeah,
Calvin Ross. Yeah,
20.
So, the 20. Sorry, not the 21. The 20. It looks like Calvin had nowhere to go. He just kind of drifted a little bit, and obviously Calvin's not going to just move over for him, and unfortunately contact was made, and it sent Sean Britt into the wall there. Thankfully, he didn't collect anybody else and got across the track and back on without too much collateral damage. But yeah, that's rather unfortunate. Yeah, there goes everybody very quickly. The front, top 10, 11, all into the pits.
Yeah, but that's what we kind of expected, wasn't it? If you're not going in, you're going to make a fateful error. The question will be, though, is how is this going to stand with these people trying to come out? And we'll keep an eye on the pit lane because, well, frankly, apart from Stephen Llewellyn, there isn't anybody else on track. So we'll keep an eye on pit lane as everybody else comes rushing in as well. Here we go. They all are there.
Looks like Randall's getting out first here. He's going to win the pit. Oh, Michael is able to get out just ahead, and McQuiggan gets out in second there with Witt and Randall right off behind them. So fast pits for the most part. Looked like Randall might have just done some fuel and a couple of tires. I don't know if he went for all 4 tires because he definitely wasn't the first into the pit lane, but he did have an earlier pit stop than Daniel McMichael and Joshua McQuiggan. Look like those two definitely, I mean, if I'm going into the pits in this, I'm getting all 4 tires for this. And you've got just under 30 laps right now. You know, guys coming in 46th, 47th lap for some. Yeah, I would say you should be able to get close to the end, especially if you add that little bit extra fuel. Maybe do a little bit of fuel saving during, so you have a good stint to be able to finish it off with. But all 4 tires, it'd be close. You should be able to get pretty close to the end. If there's another caution, obviously you're thanking your lucky stars for that extra fuel saved.
Yeah, I think what we're going to race end straight to 75. So from that point of view, we are going to be going straight to the end here, and these drivers, I've got to think consistently about what they're going to be doing now. You know, if we have another caution thrown, it's going to blow this race wide open.
It definitely can, and I mean, obviously, it's going to come down to what causes that caution and where that incident occurs. But I mean, you had 3 sets of tires. You might have one left depending on who pits and where. Like, it looks like Kevin Coleman and McLaughlin, they've both pit 4 times now. You're kind of running low on tires at that point. So it's going to come down to just kind of who can sort of save the tires as best they can, and then I guess if you can save some fuel and not have to worry about pitting, and if you're able to kind of outlast everybody and get back up to the front and hopefully not get too overtaken too quickly, all the more to you, I guess. But I think it'll be close. I think it'll be tight getting to the end, but you probably should be able to do it, or at least be close to it.
Okay, well, that's our predictions here up in the booth. What is going to be the prediction, though, as we run in? The lights are off. Pace car is off. Barney is waving. He's ready to go into the Geico restart zone once more. We are going to be underway, and it's Daniel Michael again getting the jump at the front with Josh McGuigan, Alex Witt, Anthony Radel, Calvin Ross. Are we going to see a more compact field now as we go into the last 25 laps?
I think it definitely will be. I think it's going to be a little tighter, a little closer. Guys are definitely going to be pushing a lot more. Obviously, winning a stage is great, but if you're able to win the race, it's worth a little bit more. So I think guys are going to be, it might get a little more scary. You might deal with a little bit more kind of risk being taken by guys trying to push up the field as fast as they can, but it'll be interesting for sure.
And I'm wondering what happened here. Spainow's in the pits.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe he's trying to play the long game and hoping it stays green this whole time, coming in for one last kind of pit stop to grab it and grab some stuff and get out. And he's now probably going to have to not at all. I mean, yeah, 25 laps left. He shouldn't have to pit at all to end this race. So unless there's some damage or something happened, he should be kind of good to go to the end.
Yeah. The thing about that as well, he was running quite well at the beginning, wasn't he? And then he made that stop on lap 7, as you see Kevin Coleman running the apron there. On lap 7, and he just seemed to be all out of sync all over the place, didn't he? And then he's kind of lost it again, and now he's back in the pits again. You know, I don't know if going in on lap 7 benefited Spainower that much. I think he might have been better maybe staying out like the majority of the field did do, to be honest.
Yeah, it's...
No, he went the other way, didn't he? Sorry, he went the other way. He stayed out. And
yeah, he did. He was pit under green. Yeah, I believe I was going to say, I think he pit under green, and unfortunately kind of got caught out by the fact that, you know, the next set pit stops happened under the at the end of the stage there. So he might have just gotten caught out and kind of threw off his rhythm. And outside of that, yeah, it's hard to say. But I think at this point, if he's pitting now, his goal is, okay, get those couple laps in. Yeah, you're going to lose out a little bit, but now he doesn't have to stop for the rest of the race. Whereas some of these guys, if there's no other cautions, they might run out of fuel or might really wreck those tires and have to come in under green. And that's kind of what I think he's hoping for here.
Josh McGuigan just kind of slid down the order there as well. He kind of lost where he was. And then unfortunately he's just dropped down the order there as well. So Josh McGuigan is going to have to be a little bit more smart and careful. You see the cars come sweeping through over 3 or 4 wide as they're going through now. This is where the problems are going to lie. Oh! That's where the problem was. And that is the 00 car of Kevin Coleman. Well, What could we say?
He has not had himself a great day. He is seemingly having a couple of problems with kind of maneuvering around, and he just keeps getting bumped out, and it's rather unfortunate. But I mean, now, yeah, it's going to be one of those things where it's kind of try and figure out what's going on with for the other cars here. Is do you take that extra pit now? Do you wait? It's kind of going to come down to what they think is best.
This is Rob Sizemore on the outside of him. Wondering if that's... I'm not far enough. I don't think I got quite far enough back on that one. Yeah, I did. Rob Sizemore, he goes on the inside of side. He's right behind him currently at the moment.
Looks like, yeah, he kind of dives down and then...
Did he lose it on the apron exit? This isn't the first time. That's Sean Britt looking like he's already gone down, to be fair. Yeah, there's Britt sat down. Okay.
It looks like it happens just after the finish here. Like,
seems a little bit bizarre that it's not. We're going to pick it up a little bit further.
It looks like yeah, a good chunk of guys coming into pit.
Yeah. Scurry through here.
Yeah.
There was the next yellow, so let's have a look and see. Yeah, there we go. Josh McGuigan on the outside. Is that net code off the 29? Because I've never seen a car react like that before. That was Christian Strada, innit?
I believe so, yeah. It looked like that's who we made contact with there.
Yep.
Yeah, it looked like he just tried to give him a little bit of a bump draft and kind of got him a little on the side as he had a little more momentum.
I don't think he touched him. I don't think he touched him.
Oh, yeah, no, it looks almost like he just about makes contact and unfortunately kind of caught himself, tried to correct it and overcorrected it and sent himself in and took out a couple of guys. It looks like Josh McQuiggan gets taken out too. Yeah, I don't think he actually, if he does, it's a little bit, but I think it looks almost like Coleman kind of loses it coming out of turn, is that turn two? Yeah, coming out of turn 2 there. And when he tries to correct it, it just catches and goes.
Look,
and unfortunately wasn't able to kind of save it.
Nothing.
Yeah, no, it's
just literally...
It looks like a
netcode incident between Kevin Coleman and Christian Strada. It didn't look like Strada even remotely got near him. And then a big old dose of net code. Yeah, he pitted on the green, not lap 7. Yeah, I did. Thank you very much. I did correct myself when I thought back to Terry Spainhauer. There we go. I'll get it right. Sorry, Terry, if you watch it back and you find me butchering your name. I do apologise. So from Coleman's point of view, that was just unlucky. Christian Strada's just got to be sitting there going, dude, I didn't do anything. I'm sorry, but that was unfortunately the wonderful world of internet racing. And the big dose of net code that I've seen for a while, because I think with that situation as well is the way the car diverted off. That's normally a sign that something's not right. Now, when they have contact, they kind of slide off, don't they? They make tyre marks and slide. You know, for poor old Kevin Coleman, it was almost just like a sheer right turn into the wall. So you knew at that point there wasn't something quite right. And yeah, unfortunately for Kevin Coleman, he has come a bit of a cropper on that one.
And I know for these next gen cars, they are, if you lose it and you start going around, they're not the easiest things to catch. Like if you're gonna go and you try and correct it and you overcorrect, you're not stopping anything until you hit a wall or hit a car or fly off onto the infield. You're kind of at that point, let go and you're along for the ride, just pin the brake and hope to survive. So it's true. They're rather unforgiving once you lose them.
All right, here we go again. Calvin Ross up the front. Daniel Michael in front of him. Here we go again through the Geico restart start. They're already 3 wide. Going down.
Witt just took off.
Yeah, he got a flyer, didn't he? absolute barnstorming flyer, Alex Witt. And Witt have taken up the mantle on the front as well. Calvin Ross, it was go, Calvin, go in chat. And unfortunately, he's dropped down from the lead position down into fourth, moving along the outside of Hannah, just about to take third away there as well. Go Spainhour, woo, woo, woo. Terry Spainer's down in 19th at the moment, Lydia. He's still out there, so that's always good. It's still out on track. So, as I say, to score points, you've got to finish. And if you don't finish, you don't get nothing. So from his point of view, he's doing a fine enough job to still score points here. Okay, 18 to go. We've seen this before, haven't we? With Daytona, with Alex Witt. Surely he can't be unlucky 2 weeks in a row, can he?
Oh, it's NASCAR. You can be unlucky 6.
No, don't put that on him.
Not necessarily for him, but if I'm Alex and I'm seeing Hannah as he pulls up right behind me right now, I'd be getting a little squirrely as he pulls up and gets
no.
a little bit of contact with what was that, the 20 there of Ross. He's able to hold it and kind of stick himself that. There's 4 wide. Yeah, like I said, it can get a little. And
McQuiggan's up.
McQuiggan actually saved it. It looks like a couple other guys behind him. McQuiggan managed to keep it together, but unfortunately behind him was not able to, as it looked like he made contact with a second car as he kind of sort of lost his, I guess, line as he got contact there, but he was able to kind of hit off somebody else and it straightened him out and he was able to keep it, but unfortunately for the car behind him, he was not. Yeah, it looks like Sean Britt once again caused the little bit of collision there, and then the 83
That's
was
Michael McElroy.
Yeah, he was able to kind of straighten him out for it and save him a little bit. So McQuiggan gets a little dose of luck there, but unfortunate at the same time.
Yeah, McElroy in that one. Scary as well. There's quite a few there. Rob Sizemore was another one. So poor old Sizemore was involved in that collision here at the end. So unfortunately, Sizemore. Scari's in the pits. All right, we're running 16 to go now. Are we going to pit? Simple question, Kenton. Are we going to pit?
Unless you absolutely are limping at this point, I don't think you do. I know a lot of guys have already done their 4th pit. Alex Witt, I don't know how he's only done 2 pits. He's only had 2 pit stops so far. I don't know how. I think, okay, so a few guys are going to come in. It looks like a good chunk, actually. A lot more than I was expecting to come in, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense at this point. It's the freshest tires, and you can just hammer it out full fuel, or as much fuel as you need to get to the end of the race. Brand new tires, and just go and don't stop. So yes, it kind of makes some sense, but I'm not sure if I would have.
Okay, right. So we discussed Spain Hour and how he was out of sync. Yeah, we talked about it. We said he was there was a little bit of a weird movement going on with pits, and he last pitted when it was at 49. So what are we on now? 15 to go. So he's been out there a while. What do we think? Is 5 laps ago, now sitting in 6th. He's got himself back into that start position by taking them very unorthodox pit stops that we spoke about. And has it worked out in Spain Hour's favour? Are we missing the boat here and thinking something that might not happen, but now possibly could do?
I mean, it looks like it might work in his favor a little bit here. At the beginning, I thought he was definitely in Spain Hour without the P there. After that pit stop, or sorry, Spain Hour without the S. There we go. So he was seeming a little bit in pain, but he managed to somehow make this work.
Yeah.
And it seemed, I mean, as long as he can hold on to his tires and they aren't fried or anything on him by the end, he's definitely gonna have a good time, because it's definitely put him in a spot that I don't think, looking back on we expected him to be in at this point.
No. I've got to be honest, what Spainhour is kind of achieving right about now is something that neither of us really expected. I didn't expect him to be running around Michigan, going in to the last run of 14 to go, sitting in 6th place, you know what I mean? Considering where he was and how far down the order he was and the way the pit stops were playing out, and he pitted under green. Thank you very much for that as well. Woo! Lydia, that's my husband. I know, Lydia, I know. You've told us at the beginning. I promise I read it. I promise I read it. You know, I don't think he was quite where we thought he was going to be. To be honest, I don't, and this isn't probably disrespectful as good as sounding, I don't know if I was expecting Terry to break the top 10. Just the way of how he was so out of sorts, you know, it was almost eating a chicken curry without the chicken. You just had the curry sauce, and that's kind of what Terry was, where he was out of it at the moment. And for the fact he's in 6th, you know, I think we both, Kenton and myself and you, have got to kind of eat a little bit of humble pie here, because I don't think either of us was expecting Terry Spainhour sitting in 6th place with the 14 lap run to the line.
Nope, I'm definitely going to say that, again, like I said earlier, this is why we're up here and they're on track. So it's definitely worked in his favor that the way everything went. And, you know, had we gone straight through to the end without another caution and stayed green, it probably didn't work. But sometimes, you know, it's you got to take a risk and hope it works out. And it looked like he took a calculated risk for him, and it's working out all right.
Spainhour's now on the outside line. He needs to get in, tuck in. Come on, Terry, tuck in, tuck in. You need to get in, otherwise you're going to go down the order faster than me eating McDonald's, mate. I'll tell you that much. Come on. Got to tuck in, isn't he? He's too far out.
Yeah, he kind of got left behind a little bit, made a little contact to the wall, and yeah, he's kind of stuck out in no man's land. But it looks like, who is that just got sent right off the track there? And that looks like the Toyota there. I think that might be the 20 of Calvin Ross. He kind of got sent a little outside there, but he was able to get back on track. And,
12 to go. I'm sorry for growling in your ear hole there, Kenton, but I honestly thought there was going to be some absolute chaos as Calvin was moving through there as well. Unfortunately for Spain, I was now down in 13th place. I think that slide out of that beginning run, didn't he? He didn't get the run. He didn't slot in. He didn't pick up the draft. He picked a different line, and he unfortunately just slid down the order. And unfortunately for Spainhour, now is down in 13th. But 12 to go here. We've got Sean Britt, Daniel Michael, and Andrew Almquist. That's a great recovery from Almquist compared to how terrible his Daytona was, I've got to be honest. And I think he would accept that as well, that he had a terrible run in Daytona. So to be sitting in 3rd place now, up 12 positions, I think Almquist is doing an absolute stellar job.
Yeah, as soon as you said his name, I had to double check. I was like, are we sure that's him? Like, I haven't had his name said really much at all today. So he's kind of flown under the radar a little bit. Same with Chi Kuba there. He all the way up 13 places into 4th. So like we said, that caution near the end can definitely just completely throw the entire order for a loop there. And it looks like, unfortunately, Zach Sakari is out. He's still in the pits there. And he was mentioning that he had to use a fast repair after being spun by a teammate on pit road, and then a wreck caused by a teammate and taken out. So rather unfortunate for him there, as it looks like maybe he's not out, but he's definitely on pit road still.
Yeah, he's been in pit road for about 6.5 minutes. I'm guessing that might be out there as well. Spainhour's now down in 13th. I don't know what it is. It's like this natural pull of support. But Terry Spainhour, I just want to get out, go run behind him and push his car. Clearly, I couldn't keep up, but, in my head, I'm Superman and I can run as fast as Flash. But, it's just that natural, Ross, where you going, son?
Ooh. Oh, yeah, Alex Witt.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he? Oh, he did. He saved it.
He was able to keep the car facing the right direction. Obviously, he's going to lose quite a few spots there, but was able to kind of hold on and keep it together. And yeah, Andrew Almquist I don't know where he came from, but he just shot up the order like it was nothing. And Sean Britt, I mean, our top 4 have all gained at least double-digit places on where they started today. So fantastic. And like I said, in NASCAR, things happen very quickly. Things can change even quicker.
Oh, there's a massive bump on the back end from Zachary Lewis and Calvin Ross there. Are we going to see something happen? Enquires looks like he may have got a little bit out of squirrels there. He's dropped down the order into 5th.
She connects with the wall just a little bit. It looks like a couple of these cars are starting to get a little tight and a little understeer there, and slowly kind of working their way up to the wall, unfortunately, trying to stay high and conserve tires as much as they can. But you can see Alex has battled his way back up to 2nd, and Sean Britt seems to have opened a pretty good gap there. It looks like he's got about 6/10 of a lead there. Like he's opened a pretty solid gap with 7 to go, and unfortunately it obviously can really work out, but if he as they start to reel him in, as I say that, so maybe not so much as they're starting to get kind of clip his draft there and pull him back.
All right, 6 to go. Britt, Witt, Strada. Then we've got the pack of Ross, Kuba, Radel, Almquist, and McGuigan. Almquist is gone.
Oh, there's another one.
Where is it all? Is there Kuba there?
Yeah. Actually, I don't even think it was Chi Cuba. That was the 21. Looks like Anthony Randall, unfortunately I think he got tagged, but it sent him up in collected Cuba. And also Joshua McQueen once again manages to get the luckiest as he bumps off another car and ends up still pointed the right way and not losing too much of a spot.
That's Radel.
I don't know how he did it.
Yeah, Radel was involved in that one as well. The car on the outside of Radel.
It might be. Yeah, it was Cuba. Yeah.
Cuba and Radel come together. If we can have a look again at this one. If you have a look here, Cuba's on the outside. He taps the wall, comes across, collects Radel. McGuigan gets bumped around and then back round again. That's twice that's happened.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
It's the luckiest crasher on the field here. He just seems to bounce back out like it was nothing.
Yeah.
But thankfully, not too many cars with too much damage. But I feel like Radel is going to have some interesting words, and I feel like Kuba's car is a lie there with that ally. He hasn't been much of an ally for many guys today.
All right, Kuba's car, right? He hit a wall. What's he supposed to do?
Oh yeah, he was just in an unfortunate spot.
Is there control? Would there be control as him and Radel dive in? So does Daniel Michael. I'm not entirely sure I would have been diving in this late. But then again, what do I know? Because Spainhour's in. So that just about sums up my evening of knowledge with Terry Spainhour is back in the pit. So I don't know nothing. If Spainhour's in, it's got to be right. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, he's in the wall.
Oh, no. Is that Daniel Michael? It looks like gets spun by, I don't know who was in front of him there. Llewellyn, yeah. Oh, that's really unfortunate for Daniel Michael.
Yep. I've decided whatever Spainhour is going to do, it's got to be right. All right.
Oh yeah. It has to be at this point.
Yeah, it's caught me out all day. So well done, Terry. You carry on, mate. You can be my spotter anytime. All right. So 4 to go now. Let's see what happens here once again at Michigan International Speedway. Broadcast live on the JPB broadcast channel with myself, James Parfitt, and Kenton Sportak here in the booth with 4 laps to go. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on the bells for notifications, because that would be absolutely amazing. And once again, we've not had a big one, have we? We've had a mini. You know, if it was a... Do you have Kit Kats in America before I say this? Otherwise, everybody's going to be like...
Yes.
You
yes,
know, the 4-finger Kit Kats, haven't you? You know, we haven't quite taken out all 4 fingers. We've kind of chopped off 1 and 2. So we kind of got 2 remaining currently at this moment in time here this evening as we go into the last 4. I'm wary, and only when I look back last week did I actually call that I feel there's going to be an accident here and it could start with Alex Witt, and at that moment Witt went round. So yeah. I'm not going to say anything this week because I want, you know, that's it, that's me. There's no incidents. Witt's going to win. All right.
There we go. Witt, I feel like he's done really well to keep himself out of trouble. He's kind of stayed conservative, but not too conservative where he kind of got dropped off. He's sort of worked his way near the front and then stayed out of trouble.
Yeah. That's it. That will do for me. Next person. Right, Andrew Alquist. I'm not talking too much about Alex Witt, ever.
Yeah. we gotta stop watching him. Just let him do his own thing.
Yeah, he can just go around.
Yeah, and then, I mean, McQuiggan has managed to work his way back up, and he's now in 6th, so the whole thing changes so fast. Like, he was at one point, I think, in like 14th, and has now one more incident happens, and he manages to get himself back up into the top 6 there. So
yeah, I think from McGuigan,
who knows?
I think McGuigan's got to be counting his lucky stars, right? He's had more near misses than I've ever seen at all.
Oh, he's got to go buy a lottery ticket tonight for sure.
Oh God, yeah, get out there, mate. I would be out there now, going to pick some numbers, because I think that's the situation. But we are going to get a green-white checker, hopefully here this evening, as we can see these cars coming round. Pace car will be in very, very shortly. And for the final time, we jump up into the booth with Barney. It's going to be Witt. We're going to be into the go restart zone. 3 laps to go here at Michigan. 72 gone, and we're down now to the final 3. And it's Alex Witt breaking away out of the group. He's gone already. Sean Britt is on the outside. Christian Strider, Andrew Onquist as well. Calvin Ross is in that mix as well, and so is the luckiest man on 4 wheels currently at the moment, Josh McGuigan. But it is Witt here for the final 2 laps. Kenton, carry on.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Witt just took off. He had Roskett boots attached to that car, because he just took off like it was nothing. Sean Britt, again, he managed to keep up, and Strader is tucked on his inside, and somehow McQuiggan managed to get from 6th to 4th on that restart. So he's, great for Witt. He managed to keep himself and prevent any chance of him really having too much of an issue coming up right away as they came around. So it looks like he's going to have a nice one. We won't go on to him until we're coming to the finish line, because we don't want to. We got to stay off. We don't want to cause any more problems, or we don't want to give him that the caster's a curse there. So, but it looks like, unfortunately, Britt seems to have kind of got himself trapped on the outside and lost that draft that he was hoping to keep.
There we go. Witt
as they come through, and Witt does get the win.
And
Strader, and then Britt.
Oh, again. Witt got that by quite a comfortable margin, didn't he? And that final
3/10 it looks like, yeah.
That final restart did him a bunch of good there. He jumped them at the beginning, and he got away from him. Britt went into 3rd, but he got away, and he left that gap, and he just decided enough was enough. I'm off. I can't, he can't get caught up in that final part, and that's what he did, and he did it with sort of resounding success, really, didn't he? He bolted at the 3rd restart, and there he goes. Celebratory donuts from Alex Witt. We will bring you up the official results. Alex,
these donuts look better than yesterday or last week.
Yesterday.
As well. Yeah, yesterday.
It's been
a long week, apparently.
Yeah, I know. And it was worse as well. It only seems like yesterday that we sat here. That was the weirdest thing. There he goes, donutting away. Yeah, the donuts do look better than last week, so I've got to be honest. Poor old Frimpong there as well. Never mind, sorry, mate. But let's bring you up the official results from Michigan. Alex Witt is your winner. Christian Strider in 2nd, Sean Britt in 3rd, Joshua McQuiggan in 4th, Daniel Michael in 5th, Andrew Onquist. Absolute splendid 6th place there as well from Andrew. Noel Hanna in 7th, Sawyer Gara in 8th, Zachary Lewis 9th, Michael McElroy in 10th. Then we got Armand Brusso in 11th, Rob Sizemore 12th, Calvin Ross 13th, Oscar Henson 14th, Chi Kuba 15th, Anthony Radel 16th, Gregory Sherman down in 17th place. Kevin Coleman is in, Anthony Radel 16th, Gregory Sherman 17th, Kevin Coleman 18th, Terry Spainhour in the end on the lead lap, 2.9 seconds. There's nothing there, and he's all the way down in 19th place. Poor Terry Spainhour. Stephen Llewellyn did not finish 7 laps back, so was Brandon McLaughlin 14 laps back, and Zach Scare in 16 laps back there as well. But unbelievable race, and we do have people waiting so patiently in the booth already, and I think we'll bring in, let's start with 3rd place man, I think, Sean Britt. We will bring in Sean for a chat this evening as well. So let's have a quick word with Sean Britt, and here he is, your 3rd place man, Mr. Sean Britt. Good evening to you, sir. How are you?
And I'm doing all right.
That was quite intense, wasn't it?
Words cannot probably a roller coaster is what happened with my race.
Yeah, there was a lot going on with you. And, you know, whenever there seemed to be an incident, you would be in and around that incident. Just pure unlucky to be in the wrong place at the wrong time almost.
I guess you could put it like that. I mean, I don't know how I lost track, but I think it might have been 3 or 4 times I was set back to 20th or the end of the field.
Yeah.
Still ridiculous I managed to got 3rd, but yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough one. Incidents with Zachary Lewis and Calvin Ross there as well. You know, but look, let's not touch on that for too long. Positive drive, 3rd place overall, not a bad chunk of points so far. All, you know, this season and going into now round 3 at Dover. What are we expecting from Sean Britt in round 3?
Just try and be consistent. Try and just get top 5s and top 10s. We just need points. And if we can get a win, we'll try and get a win.
Okie dokie. Well, Sean, thank you so much for joining me in the booth. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave this evening?
Just want to give a shout out to Comfort Master, company that's sponsored on my car. And I want to give a shout out to my teammates, Zach, Michael McElroy, and Joshua McQuiggan. Even though we've had some rough-ins with almost probably all 3 of them, we're just going to have to, hopefully we'll get that sorted out and probably not be able to get into each other throughout the rest of the season. Some of them are my fault, but we'll try and get everything situated.
Okay, Sean, well, thank you so much for joining us and look forward to having a chat with you as the season goes on.
Thank you.
Take care. Right, let's bring in Christian Strada into the booth. Finished 2nd place, started down in 9th here as well. Good evening, Christian. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, 2nd place, can't complain with that finish.
No, I think that was the thing. You started down in 9th. You know, you've got it into 2nd, and you've done an absolutely stellar job there. We're just watching towards the end of the race. You know, tough night tonight, would you say?
Yes and no. I felt like it was tough up in the top 8 cars. As you were coming back up and down through the field, I felt like the racing was a little bit lighter in the back of the field. It just wasn't as chaotic. But once you got up to the top 8, I mean, everybody going 3 wide, 4 wide, it just became a little bit harder to pass and not get stuck in the line that wasn't in the draft.
I think that was one of the things we touched on up in the booth. It was completely different, the way the movement of the cars around the track compared to what Daytona was. You know, there wasn't this 2-line regimental rule. There wasn't even a single file at one point, you know, 3, 4 wide, and it looked like we're trying to pin pieces of a jigsaw together rather than watching cars move around the track. How difficult was that to be in that situation where everybody was kind of, I want to put it in all over the place, because that's what it looked like at one point.
That is the perfect way to describe it. It was all over the place. That's how I felt when I was in it. I mean, there was cars to your left and right constantly. It was hard to find exactly where you were on track around everybody as it was all going on. And I mean, coming off into the corners, I mean, people different braking points, and it just was chaotic the whole night.
But you survived.
Yes, it
There you go.
was fun. It was fun chaos, and I felt like it was pretty controlled chaos. But it just being there, it just felt like there was always on edge of something happening.
Yeah, and that was the thing I found as well. There was always the opportunity with the amount of cars moving around the circuit as much as they were doing. There was always the chance something was going to happen, and it happened quite a few times, this evening as well. But look, let's not dwell on that. Let's celebrate the fact that you take a second place. So, Christian Strada, congratulations on your second place. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening?
I'd like to thank you guys first off for coming in and broadcasting this, and you guys have been doing a great job. And then I'd like to thank the sponsors of the BSC Racing and Reese's Cups. I love Reese's Cups.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Christian, for joining me, and look forward to speaking to you as the season goes on. Take care.
Look forward to speaking to you as well.
Take care, buddy.
You too.
Right. And let's bring in now your victor this evening, the man who was unlucky in Daytona. We didn't really want to talk to him or pick him up as the evening went on, and he's come into the booth as your winner, and I'm so pleased about it. After a rough week in Daytona, Alex Witt, welcome into the booth, buddy. Congratulations on your victory.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a really good race at the end. Definitely good to make up for last week, that's for sure.
And you definitely did. And you bolted on that last restart, and that really kind of gave you the win, didn't it? You cleared off straight away. You'd opened the gap on. It reminded me of a rabbit running away from a fox. It was like, I'm not going to get involved in that. I don't want to get involved in that. There's a big chance it could go on. I'm off. And you went. And was that the defining moment that gave you your victory, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that whole sort of last stage there, I was trying to save tires as much as possible for that kind of scenario so that I would at least have the tires to just do whatever it took there with the green, white checkered.
Yeah, I think you had to do what you had to do. And as I say, you were so unlucky in Daytona. You know what I mean? It was just so unlucky. But going forward, what is Alex Witt's target for this season? What's the target?
I mean, definitely just to be consistent as much as possible, save tires, be there at the end. I don't mind giving up those first stages, especially, I mean, like you saw here, you don't have to win the first stage or be at the front. You can make mistakes sometimes, but still want to be consistent enough to be there at the end.
That's going to be the thing, right? You can guarantee, this is one of the things I think we can all kind of sit back and think about, was you can guarantee at some point you're going to be involved in something. But it's how you manage that something is what you come out the other side like, isn't it? You don't want to be wrecking every single week. It's, I might wreck this week, but it's how you come out of the other side. And that courage and that drive is one of the important things when you do this kind of racing.
Absolutely. It's all just about keeping clean, because you can't control what happens, but you can control quite how dangerous it is sometimes, I think.
Yeah, and kind of not putting yourself in positions you don't really need to be in. I think that's kind of an important thing, isn't it? You know what I mean? So there we go. Onwards and upwards to Dover. What is your opinion of Dover? Is it Marmite? Do you love it or do you hate it?
Well, the last few times I've enjoyed it. It's a really fast track. You can really get speed going on the high line. It's all about taking a risk. So, that's usually something that you don't want to do, but it'll definitely take some practice to get right up against the wall and carry a lot of speed.
Oh, it's going to be a brave man then, I think, on that one as well. But Alex, congratulations on your victory this evening. Well deserved, as always. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening?
Yeah, shout out to the boys in the Breakfast Club. Thanks for watching.
Well, there you go. Alex, thank you so much for joining me, and congratulations on your victory.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was, a fairly... Bubba's... I was a bit interested on Sean Britt's interview there. Like, there was almost some frosty team situation. We saw the end on the back of one of the replays there of him and Josh McGuigan coming across the line. They were mentioned as teammates, Kenton. He didn't seem too keen to push the situation, but there was something there, wasn't there? Something wasn't quite right with Sean Britt on that one.
Yeah, I think it was just it's one of those races where it seemed like no one really was able to stay out of trouble, and a little bit of bumping here and there, could put guys in situations they didn't really want to have to be in. So, teammates, it's like a brotherhood. So I'm sure they'll iron out whatever was going on and be good to go for Dover here. I don't see this, extending past the end of today. So, I'm sure they'll have a quick little Discord meetup and kind of go over some things and move on to the next day. It's a long season. I mean, we're in round 2 of 16, so lots of time to kind of make up for mistakes and kind of work together and find better ways to do things and go from there.
That's the important thing. When you're talking about a team, that's the important thing, on the fact that you go in, you thrash it out, say what you want, expleat as much as you like, as long as you come out of there friends and the problem's dealt with, and it doesn't rear its ugly head again 6 months later like other forms of motorsport that have recently taken place across this season and this year. You get on with it, don't you? You don't hold the grudges.
Exactly. It's in the throes of the moment. Yeah, you might be a little annoyed or a little ticked off, things like that. But yeah, you get together, you have your little conversation about it, and then move on, right? So, like I said, this wasn't Homestead at the end of the year. It's Michigan round 2, so lots of time to kind of work your way back and kind of get back on the same page. And I mean, it could be as simple as new teammates and things like that. You're obviously going to have not the exact same dynamic that you used to have, and it's just finding that comfortable spot and getting back into it. So I would be not at all surprised if by next weekend they're back up and ready to go.
Absolutely. Well, guys, that is it. That has brought us to the end of this broadcast of this evening. So from myself and Kenton Sportak here in Michigan, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to give the video a big old thumbs up, guys. Subscribe, turn on the bells for notifications, because we've got a lot of racing coming up for you as the week is progressing. And I do mean a lot, so I will only give you the information on the next couple of days, because otherwise you'll need a pen and a pad. We've got the Simability Charlotte race coming up tomorrow on the SK series there as well. They are going off around about 12:45 GMT, which is going to be about 7:45 EST. Then we've got the LSRL F1 round 2 from Long Beach. That goes off at 8:45 EST, which is 1:45 GMT, and that is on Wednesday. We've got 2 series on Thursday, guys, as well, with a Radical Race series, both from Catalonia in the evenings, which is 9 p.m. GMT, which is around about 4 p.m. Eastern, if I'm not mistaken. And then we've got the Radical Sim Race in America, which is about 8:30 Eastern time, about 1:45 GMT. So that's the next couple of days, so stay tuned for that one, because we've got a lot more coming up as the weekend comes closer as well. But guys, thank you so much, everybody in chat, for joining us as well. The Good old Spainhour fans there. Terry Spainhour fans coming in as well. Lydia and his wife as well. Go and give him a drink and a cuddle and tell him he did well. He did an absolute stellar job there as well. And thank you to everybody else for joining me here tonight in the on the JPB YouTube channel. But guys, that's it. That's us rounded out for the evening. So for myself and Kenton Sportak, you all take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.